君と出会った時、子供の頃大切思ってた場所を思い出したんだ。僕と踊ってくれないか、光と影のワイディングロー、今でもあいつに夢中なの。少しだけ振り向きたくなるような時もあるけど、愛の勇気と誇りを持って戦うよ。みんな一緒に。だんだん心惹かれてく、どんな星の希望のかけら、きっと誰もが永遠は手に入れたい。全然気にしないふりしても、ほら君に恋してよ。果てない闇から飛び出そう北条編。君も好きだけどあんなに飛ばして生きて大丈夫かなと思う。僕は何気ない仕草に振り回されての小さい部分、それでもあいつに夢中なの。もっと聞きたいことがあったのに、二人の会話が車の中に阻まれて終わり今むよ。だんだん心惹かれてく、自分でも不思議なんだけど、何かのすぐに君に電話したくなる。全然気のないふりしても結局君のことだけ見てた。 Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Plungecast, and especially to this show, which is Comics and Ramblings. Comics and Ramblings, where we have guests, where we talk about politics, where we talk about things happening in the pop culture scene, anime, comics, movies, TV, what have you, and where we talk about what kind of try to get to issues that are going on, and in that scope of pop culture. So today, as part of our second part of our show about the Me Too situation, 5 years ago between Monica Rial and also Vic Mignogna. I always get that wrong. The Doctor, I even spelled it wrong, dude, last time, and I
It's
think
Vic
it's correct from you.
Mignogna.
Yeah, say that again, so I don't. I'll just call him Vic, but you can pronounce it properly.
Vic Mignogna.
Awesome. All right, so thank you guys for joining us, and of course this is part two. Part one's actually in the link for this video, but you can watch that later or beforehand, whatever. But thank you for catching up with us, and thank you for coming and hanging out. All right, yeah, chatbots. Didn't realize they were using chatbots on here, but yeah, thank you. So hey, we've had some sad news this week, right? Which is why I was just playing the whole Akira Toriyama, symphony. And for me, I've actually have never watched the actual episode of Dragon Ball Z. It wasn't my timeline. My timeline is basically Studio Ghibli and Akira. And so for the guys who grew up in the 90s, it's very important, and world over. I can't just say just for the Western world, it's world over. It had such an impact on people. And, I think, like I spoke on this on Friday night on our Kiwis and Comic Book show, how important Akira's impact on manga has been and anime across the entire world. And I think a lot of people, who aren't in the anime or manga scene might not understand that, but that is, huge impact, just like One Piece. But I think for a lot of people, the whole superhero genre starts with, Dragon Ball Z, because a lot of them didn't grow up with Batman and Robin or whatever, or Superman on TV. They around the world, they grew up with Dragon Ball Z, especially in Mexico, which is huge for manga. I've recently learned, right, in Spain as well. So, do you want to talk a bit about that before we go into that, or Doug?
Yeah, let's talk about Akira Toriyama. That he is essentially the George Lucas of Japan, inspiring this whole generation of creators that want to tell stories, and whether that is in the form of the stories or the VFX or however the action, the music. Like, his stuff was very inspirational. And we're going to see that for many years to come, from the creator of One Piece, the creator of Fairy Tail, the creator of My Hero Academia, have all cited Akira Toriyama as inspirations behind their work. However, it's the creator of Everyday Life with Monster Girls, don't watch that, but it's that guy who, I think he explains why Akira Toriyama was so inspirational, where he said he taught his generation that manga can be fun.
Right.
So I guess manga wasn't back then. Like, why would you say that? It's very interesting to hear.
Well, I would say, like I was saying about my generation, right? Like Studio Ghibli, the something of the Fireflies. I can't remember the name, like the full name of it, but the Fireflies. It was
Grave
very
of the
serious.
Fireflies.
Yeah. And what was this again? Sorry.
Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah, that was from World War II, with from the Japanese perspective of like the whole kamikaze, and seeing the the other people, the West, as the evil demons, they as such, right? And so you'd sacrifice your life and be propagandized into thinking that they're the bad guys and we're the best, sacrifice your life. And so all that heaviness was available, say in the 80s, going to the 90s, even up to almost the 2000s, where you had this really seriousness that was using anime as a way to tell serious stories, and they were good and they were important. And I think maybe that's why Akira is basically saying, hey, we want to bring fun into it, It's a bit like Marvel, right? You look at DC. DC's a little bit more like in a darker universe compared to Marvel, which is like all about jokes and fun and stuff like that, which is good because you need both of them because you can't have just laugh, laugh, laugh because you can use this thing we call animation or anime for both things. And I think and talk about Monster Girls. I've watched that. I love that series, right? Uh,
Okay.
I just, it's just a fun thing. So you can have all that. That's why I love anime and manga so much because it includes every kind of sequential art, storytelling. Because I do that myself. I write genre stuff like drama. I will go into crime. I'll go into sci-fi. I'll go into fantasy, isekai. I will go into adventure, monsters, werewolves, angels, demons, everything because I think there's room for everybody in this thing we call animation and storytelling, and especially this. Why I think maybe that's why he said that. So yeah, carry on, bud.
Yeah, so with Dragon Ball, oh, I can hear myself on your end.
Maybe you've got me
Yeah, hang on, let me test,
on YouTube.
test. Okay, yeah, I can. It's gone now. Okay, so with Dragon Ball, I'd say it's not only inspired a generation in Japan, but a generation overseas, and
That's it.
like inspiring men to be men. Like really, you got to jack yourself up to be strong,
Yeah,
and yeah, this whole I've seen a tons of memes about it where people will post something like a race swapped or gender swapped character, and it's like, oh, I can finally see myself now. And meanwhile, you got Mexicans, Australians,
yeah, dude.
Chinese, all these other races of men looking at Dragon Ball, and yeah, we
Yeah,
see ourselves.
yeah, and that's the problem with like the modern thing, right? So-called modern audience is you have to have their race in it to see themselves. I've never looked at Batman and said, I wish Batman was Indian, then I could feel seen, right? Because every culture has their own little, their own media. They have their own entertainment. So we, who are realistic about the world and how pop culture works, we don't have to have Indian, Batman, Superman, all that. It's fun. That's all I see it as. Like they did a Spider-Man India thing one time, 4 issues. That was fun for me. I didn't hype it up, and I just thought, oh yeah, that's cool. Put on my shelf. Now let's get back to Peter Parker, right? So that's why I think a lot of people around the world gravitate to stuff like Dragon Ball Z, manga, because they don't want to see themselves in it. They want to see the story, the character. They want to see how good it is and how they feel. And that whole jacked up thing, I think that's pretty cool. I think a lot of males don't, you know, I find a lot of like overweight males, and I think, dude, you're trying to show people that, oh yeah, you're this and that, but you don't even look after yourself. You don't even look after your body. You don't look after your own health. So why would people show you respect in that sense if you don't do that yourself? And then people make memes and jokes about it, and then like it's kind of like becomes negative to be a male, right? And it's like, especially if you're like, I'm gonna work out and stuff. Now they're like, oh yeah, you're doing this and that. But yeah, I didn't realize how important Dragon Ball Z was until I had a shop. Where people would come in about what is like about 2015, 2014, and talk about Dragon Ball Z. And I'll be like, oh wow, I didn't even know people were so much into it here. And I'm talking about Maori young men, right? Not
Hmm.
European white men, Maori young men who are into it. And then I'm looking at a Japanese, oh no, sorry, a Korean guy who's into it, right? And he's not going, I want
Yeah.
to see Korean, Dragon Ball Z characters. And that's what I find funny about this generation, where the media tells you what you should be, right? Rather than letting the artist tell you a good story.
Yeah, and while you were talking, I was trying to find this I can't call it a meme. I'll call it a post from Facebook that I saw the other day where the 2020s has become the worst decade ever, and each year in the 2020s has been like a passing year for one of the creators. Like
Yeah,
last year
man.
was creator of Yu-Gi-Oh. I think the year before that was the Berserk creator, and there was one other I didn't recognize. Like, yeesh, who's next in 2025?
The sad side of it, this is that, like, I feel like they work so hard. These creators, especially in Japan. I mean, we've lost a ton in comics and in America and stuff, but the way I losing any, and this is what I spoke about the other night, was losing anyone. It doesn't matter what country you're from. For me, it hurts me as someone who's in this medium as comic book writer and creator, because it means we lose somebody of legendary status as part of our out of that medium we call superficial art, comic books, manga, what have you, manhwa, all that. And to lose that that quality of craftsmanship and master class X is such a sad place to for us, especially as we keep losing them every year now, every few months. We lost a Japanese female anime or manga creator, self I think it was self deletion, as we like to say, in a softer way of saying it, a couple.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And it was quite sad, and it really sucks, man. Like, to have that, to lose someone like that, because it's like it's like losing some master, person you can look up to and get inspired by. But the other side of that is that they leave behind so many good works. That's what as someone who's just starting out as such, I want to do as many works I can before I finish. And I think that's what, like, a lot of these creative people, masterclass people, legends of our industry, they put so much work into it so fast because they know they only have a certain amount of time. And I'm the same. I think, like, I've only got a few years left at 50, right? So I'll go the next 15 years. I'm going to try to do as much as I can. But it is sad to lose someone, and it's especially at this level.
Exactly. And what you were saying about leaving behind a legacy, that's kind of what I want to do, because I do not see myself ever starting a family. Like, I don't have it in me to look for love. I just don't have it in my system. So best I could do is YouTube videos, because I don't think I explained in part one where I said, or whether I said it or not, that I spent 5 years doing film and television studies, and then in 2020, that's when I hooked up with an independent studio. Not sure if I could call them a studio because they were at their own house, but when the pandemic started, they were already laying off their own workers, so only got to hang out with them twice, and then that was thrown into turmoil. So I got a job as a storeman at an airport, which is where my current job. But then it was last year where I started making money off YouTube, and now I want to pursue YouTube full time because I've met the threshold. I like to make money off my videos, and that's the closest I'll probably get to filmmaking. And in a way, like, if I pass away, then my videos will carry on my legacy. Like, they're there forever.
That's it. Yeah.
Same thing with the manga.
And you sent me that link for the train, Thomas the Tank Engine, right? That was really good, dude. I really enjoyed that. It really showed me, and I think a lot of people should watch that, right? Let me just bring that up here. I'm going to jump over into our Twitter, and because I think people need to have a bit of idea, because, like, storytelling doesn't have to just be in comics or anime or manga or filmmaking. Kids storytelling, and that is really important as well. And I think a lot of people don't realize that there are some craftsmen, level people, masterclass people who are telling these stories. So I'm going to put this on mute, and I'm going to actually get you to talk about this, man.
Yes, so that's my avatar that I designed in Toon Boom, which unfortunately I don't have at home. But what this video is characters acting in or out of character. Now, unfortunately, we've been seeing that a lot in recent years, especially with
Exactly.
Star Wars.
That's why I said it was
And,
important because of this. Yeah.
yeah, but we Thomas the Tank Engine fans have had to put up with it for much longer. Like we're talking 2007 here, when
Right.
when Hits Entertainment bought the rights to Thomas the Tank Engine, and it wasn't all bad. We're kind of like in this Star Wars prequel phase where looking back, and it's not as bad, but the bad elements are still just as bad back in the day. And this video that I made is going over some of the characters that were acting in or out of character, particularly with Edward and Emily. And then there's also, you may have noticed I retracted or redacted the original poster's name, just so no one could search out this guy. And nothing against him, nothing personal. Just if anything, I'm grateful for for giving me the idea that people talking about characters acting in or out of character, and I kind of make fun of that. I'd say we're united as Thomas fans, but someone is set to cause division. And did you see the end? Did you see the end clip, like right at the end of the video?
Let me see. Let me fast forward to that. So,
right at the very end, like the last thing. So I promoted myself, and then there was something I wanted to throw in at the end. We can put the sound on.
Okay.
But that one was quite astounding. So here, just
and that is going to be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. This is the first major Thomas topic of the year, and if you enjoyed this, there will be a playlist in the description for more videos like this one.
So yes, Thomas Tank Engine has a large fan base
coming out.
Sorry, what was it?
Good. I just said that Thomas Tank Engine still has a large fan base to this day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I had I picked up a couple of trains last year, but then I had it for about a year or so, and then at the end of last year I decided to do a whole spring cleaning kind of thing going into this year, and so I took about 8 to 12 shopping bags, and I mean big shopping bags of toys, back to Sally's, and amongst them was the Thomas Tank, the large one about this big, and just gave it so the kids at Christmas time, mum and dads who can afford them at retail value could buy them for the kids. And so I was able to send them there. And so that was amongst them. And so my nephews grew up on that. And so, and I also had a table. And so I took that as well, because I think a lot of times we forget the importance of stories for young kids, males or girls as you're growing up. And a lot of time now, the so-called adults are seeing storytelling and seeing the audience as dumb. They don't realize that these guys these young kids have grown up with stories and characters, and they know what those characters are. Very, very importantly, they know what
it's why people have turned away. It's why people have turned away from Western entertainment to Japanese entertainment. But yeah, let's play the clip at the end.
Yeah,
let's play the clip at the end.
Okay. Just get back in there.
Out on my community tab, and I'll let you know what's coming to the channel. Maybe one day I'll get to leave my current job and pursue YouTube full time so I can bring these videos to you faster and of higher caliber. Until next time, take care, mates.
So it follows. Dissent leads to division, and division leads us to doom.
Is that from the actual Happy Feet thing, or did you put that in there?
That is from the Happy Feet movie, and I was going to put that at the start of the video, but I realized it kind of disrupts the flow a little when I said, new challenger approaches who are set to cause division. Play this clip, but it didn't feel right to me, so I wanted to put that at the end, because I don't know when I'll put out my next Thomas topic or when I be able to put this in a video, which will feel relevant or related. But I think people should take this quote to heart. Dissent leads to division, and division leads us to doom.
I don't think... I mean, you're talking about fandom here, right?
We could look at it beyond that, like politically.
Because I think, like, I mean, sometimes you do need dissent, because I think a lot of times, you know, if you just accept things as they are, and continuously, people, they just take advantage of you, right? Like when you're like when you don't sort of like have a backbone about things, people would just push you over and just take advantage of you. So I want to, before we go into more with the anime thing, but have a look at this. So this is the current state of comics. So the character of the century, I have I have a actual action figure. I have all the comics where first appeared, and this was like about 2004, 2005, I think it was around. So because no longer people are accepting just race swap characters and just to have a black character take over a white character's role, and normally it is a white character that they try to race swap with
Of course.
usually it's a black black female or black male character. So this is a take on that, where it's like, and this is real, right? This isn't fake. So because people aren't just accepting of just race swap characters, now that race swap character has to be disabled as well, right?
Oh, I thought that was a throne chair. I see the wheels.
Yeah. So let me go down a bit. So it has to be disabled as well.
Okay.
It can't be just black now. It can't be just be race swap, but it has to be disabled as well. And this is basically, this is epitome of modern audience culture, right? Where you can't just accept, you have to accept black, race swap black character. And usually it is black African American that is swapped, right? It's not anybody else. It's not, you don't see it as an Indian character. You don't see it as an Asian character. However, they were going to do, put an Asian character as a sentry, even though everybody knows the sentry is a white dude with blonde hair, blue eyes, right? And huge muscular build. But because they want you to accept him not being that way, they want now to have it as a female black character. But because you guys are so terrible not accepting black female character, we're going to make you even feel worse about it, because now she's handicapped. She's disabled. She's stuck to a chair, right? And now,
now people have... but people have caught on to the game.
That's it. But now, to make you feel really bad about yourself if you don't accept this character, she has the power to make her wheelchair fly.
Yeah,
not use her own power to make herself fly, but make her wheelchair fly. So she's stuck to a wheelchair.
Yeah, to the creator of this comic, I say go stuff yourself. Yeah. I have no shame in criticizing this character. So is this an original character what we're seeing here, or this is a race swapped character of someone else?
This is a race swapped and disability or able body swapped new character from Marvel Comics.
Yeah,
it's most recent, right? Yeah, look, call me Solaris. So she's not even like Sentry, but look, she's got the Sentry symbol, because Sentry is basically Superman for Marvel Comics.
Okay. Yeah, I think I may have heard it like once or twice, but not too big on the comic side of superheroes.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have the power, right, why would you still use your, your wheelchair? I actually have a wheelchair-bound character coming up called Father Fate, and it has to do, I'm not going to delve into it because we got that coming in a few issues down the road. It's just, part of a series we call Alienated Alliance, and there's no way, if I had the power to get out of, because there was a chance for me in about 2008 when I was, because I had a car accident, right? And they said they would operate on my back, and there's a 50-50 chance that I might not walk again, and I'll be bound to a chair. My thing was, do I take the opportunity to be operated on where it could go wrong and I would be bound to a chair, or do I walk around with a cane? And I said, I'll walk around with a cane. No, thank you to the operation. So I walk around with a cane now. And so that's the choice. And I think, like, if you had the superpower to not be bound to a chair, why would you bound yourself to a chair? and people who haven't experienced that, have no idea what it's like to be in a chair. And I used to have a flat, because I live in a block of flats, apartments, right? So there used to be a gentleman downstairs, and he would never, like, he would get out of his chair just to go get the mail. He would never use his chair to go up to get his mail, because he would use the cane. But if he was going down the road, he would use the chair, right? Because of electronic. So the idea that somebody's happy to be bound to a chair is ridiculous. And this is what they want you to believe, that it's so empowering to be stuck to a chair, because now the superpowers you have is going to keep you in the chair. If I had a superpower, never, to that get me out of the chair, I would use that, right? Or make me be able, where I could walk around all day without any pain on my free legs, right, without a cane, and limping along. I would do that. And this whole idea of, like, it makes them feel good to create these characters. It's not about the characters themselves. It's about them making themselves feel good, who are creating these characters. And that's just sad. I think it's just a disgusting way to try to, what is it called? Like, manipulate your audience, right? And your reader base.
Disingenuous.
Sorry?
It's disingenuous.
That's it.
Yes, and while we're talking about wheelchair representation, did you see how they completely changed the Doctor Who villain?
Oh, you're talking about the original Dalek, right?
I don't know my Doctor Who lore, but I know Critical Drinker brought it up. He made an entire video about it, where there was a villain who was in a wheelchair, but then they changed him to a generic white guy villain.
Yeah.
But who can walk, by the way. And it's like, well, we can't have disabled people as villains. So it's even more specific than that. Like, you can't have disabled people as villains, which is ridiculous, because it's same with people of color cannot be villains either. That's something they've been trying to push, and it's something that was the Netflix series Wednesday was criticized for, because there was a black female villain. So it's even the villains that gotta consider, like, you can't have a person of minority to be the bad guy, even though it's still representation. Like, you're ticking the box in your checklist. Yeah.
That's why, like, I think that's why, like, comedy is great, because you target everything, and that's the nature of comedy. That, like, you can write and talk about everything in its time, and because
even comedy is not safe from these types of people.
Yeah. I mean, like, there was like a pregnant comedian who got attacked on stage, right, and abused and stuff. I mean, then you also got, with was it Dave Chappelle getting all attacked or left, right, and center. There's no, like, sort of a safe place now to talk about anything that upsets people. For me, I like, sometimes you need to be upset, because it makes you think, makes you think about things more in depth, because, like, why did it upset you, right? Why did that guy saying something or that lady saying something upset me? Really, what do I have a chip on my shoulder about something? I need to examine myself. A lot of times people don't want to examine themselves. They don't want to look at their own motives, their own ideas, their thoughts. So now without that, now is people is trying to force down your throat what they themselves believe, rather than allowing you to think for yourself and bring you an issue and go, hey, what do you think about this? Rather than going, you must do this, or you're an evil person. It's kind of sad. I think, and here's the thing I just thought, man. Do you want to do this on a weekly, like a monthly basis with me?
Yeah, we'll see. But I just want to say, self-indulgence and self-awareness are polar opposites.
Yeah.
And clearly these people are self-indulged because they are completely oblivious to the real world. And maybe we'll talk more about this, like, other times, like, we get a more live streams in the future. But for now, I think we'll jump into part 2. Yeah. And
so,
there was
give me a sec. I'll get this all set up so that we can, because later on I can clip this and we can use this the starting intro for something else. But here is Me Too part 2.
Are we
And
starting a
I'll do-
different live stream?
No. Same one. But here we
Okay.
go. So, welcome to part 2 of the Me Too situation, which is a 50th anniversary between Monica Rial and
Vic Mignogna. I didn't
you
realize I was doing the intro as well.
Yeah. So my guest today is the Doctor, and you can check out his channel. It's awesome. I really enjoy it, and it's let me just grab that so I can show you which that channel is, and I'll link and subscribe to him as well. By the way, this is the Doctor, and I always kind of go Doctor DA because that's what you've got on Twitter, right?
Yeah, the origins of my name, the simple version is Dr. Richter fan from Call of Duty Black Ops, because he has the wackiest German accent I've ever heard. How dare you touch the Doctor! So it's just the same name I call myself on Steam. If I knew this was going to be my career name, maybe we're going to go on something else. But I'm not going to change it now. It will just confuse people who've come to hear my name over the years.
Yeah. Awesome,
As for my channel, it's I tried doing Thomas and Yu-Gi-Oh content, but it turns out Yu-Gi-Oh is just not profitable. Like, it doesn't get enough clicks, whereas the Thomas stuff does. And my channel is dedicated to critical analysis of Thomas the Tank Engine. And my most popular video is 50 Things Wrong with All Engines Go, which is the 2D reboot of Thomas. And it is everything wrong with modern culture, as you can imagine. And I watched the entire first season. It was painful. Literally, I watched 3 episodes back to back, and I felt nauseous. I'm not joking. It does something to you. And yeah, but yeah, that's the intro I did. And my latest video is when is a character out of character, which we've been seeing a lot in recent years, like with Star Wars and superheroes. But we Thomas fans have been putting up with that stuff much longer. Even say 2007, it's been around when Hit Entertainment bought the rights to Thomas the Tank Engine, and the hit era of Thomas is sort of going through this redemption phase, like the Star Wars prequels. Like, the bad stuff is still bad, but people are finding out there's still some good things that may have overlooked. Like, I would argue James has a character arc that's not present in any other period in Thomas the Tank Engine, not in the books, not in the classic era. So I'd say the hit era did James, the Red Engine, very well. Yeah, so Thomas the Tank Engine still has a large fan base to this day. I even put out a comment on Unlucky Tug's video, who was one of his videos, which Unlucky Tug is like the most prominent Thomas YouTuber right now. He's pretty much carrying the fan base on his back. And the comment was 2008 to 2013 was actually, I might as well did I screenshot that or whatever? So 2008 to 2013 was like the golden age of Thomas parodies. 2014 to 2019 was the golden age of Thomas fan stories. And 2020 to present is the golden age of Thomas critical analysis. And that comment got like 700 likes. It's like the most liked comment on that video of his. So I didn't realize I was bang on with that.
Right.
Yep. So we're going into part 2 of the Vic Mignogna defamation saga, more specifically on Chris Sabat. But there's a few things to go over from part 1. I actually left a comment just before we started Aru about, well, timestamps.
Right.
I was going through timestamps. I was hoping to get that done before we started, but I still have like a half an hour left to mark, and just to make it digestible for the audience, see like the context, like what we talk about, and yeah, for convenience sake.
That'd be awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because I just don't have the time a lot of time because I'm doing this almost every day now, and plus I got to do all my comic books and everything else there. So I appreciate that you taking the time to timestamp that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I noticed in part 1 and part 2 you spell out Monic. Yeah, better fix that.
All right, so let's go with part 2. Where do you want to start with part 2?
Well, let's start with Rooster Teeth because I have least to say about them. But Rooster Teeth has been deceased as of last week. So this is one of the companies that terminated Vic before Funimation, but they were the least vocal about it. And that's why Vic Mignogna sued Funimation over Rooster Teeth, because Rooster Teeth kind of, they were more quiet, like letting him go, but obviously for the same reasons, because they didn't bother doing a proper investigation, even though Monica claims there was an investigation. And that actually segues into something else that I didn't bring up, which was the jelly bean stuff. So how are we going to bring up? Oh yeah, how do we share?
Let me. There should be a video on it, right? So Monica Rial jelly bean.
No, there isn't. People tried to find this, and there's no video on Vic Mignogna taking the jelly bean from Monica. But I do want to bring up a tweet because I didn't do that in part 1. So how do I share screens again?
At the bottom there, go present and then share.
Slides. Oh yeah,
so
share screen.
Mute, cam, settings, present. Just at the bottom there.
Yeah. So if I do that, so you can see me now.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, this is what you want to see? Sure.
Yeah. So.
So you have to go across. It'll say like when you go up, it'll go like. Let me just see here. It'll go your Google tab, whatever you're using. Then it'll go window. So it's the window that you got to choose, not the the search tab.
Yeah. Is it up on your stream now?
Not your window, just your screen, like us. I'm seeing us like this.
Okay, so can the audience see? I'm sharing currently.
Yeah, but I need you to show me the window that you're looking at, not us, because you're not choosing the window.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Next tab across.
So share screen. Entire screen.
No, the one in the middle.
So yeah, window. I click that and I hit share. So is that working now?
No. So when you go across, you go share screen. At the top, it'll go Brave or whatever, Google tab, whatever. Then it'll go window. Then it'll go entire screen. So you want the one in the middle, which is a window.
Yeah, that's what I've been clicking. So StreamYard Studio. Maybe it's okay. Maybe that's it.
Yeah. So don't show me that until you got what you want to see. Yeah.
Okay. So now you can see the tweet in question.
Yeah. So yeah, raise your bring your tweet up and then I'll show it so we don't see your personal stuff.
I did bring the tweet up.
Yeah, you need to bring it on your screen. You just got it in your folder. You can see that, right?
I
click on it.
I did like that's what I did. I clicked on it.
Yeah, but it's somewhere else. It's not on front of us. So click on it.
Oh no, I don't know what's happening. I've got it open on my.
Yeah, just send it to me on Twitter, and I'll raise it up.
Okay, this is very weird because we didn't have this problem before.
Well, do you have a different screen open?
No.
So what happens is that when you do that, it'll go onto another image. So then you have to go back and share that other image, not that window. So yeah, but check it into here we go. Cool. Right.
Yeah. Apologies for technical difficulties. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong.
That's all right. We got it. Whatever you want to share, just chuck it into there and I'll put it up. So here we go. Decepticon.
What's funny is, by Texas law, if you look up the defamation of harassment, what they are saying with the jelly bean thing actually falls under that. So no, it shouldn't. I guess we should explain what the actual jelly bean story is, where Vic Mignogna wrote his name on a jelly bean from Monica, or maybe Monica wrote.
No, it was Monica who wrote her name on it.
Yeah, and Vic Mignogna took the jelly bean with ink on it. He ate the jelly bean and said, "I ate Monica." And Monica here is saying, "Oh, it definitely happened, but that's not why he was let go. It was just one example of inappropriate behavior." Like, if you think jelly bean counts as sexual harassment, then like your standards are bloody low, love.
But here's the thing: these are people who got into bed with each other at a con, right? As a promotional piece, if I remember right, panty stocking and whatever it was, that one, to promote that, they were actually in bed. So the idea that someone eating a jelly bean with somebody's name on it is so inappropriate, yet you're getting in bed with other members of the opposite sex as kind of like a promotional thing, and you kind of like go, well, this whole idea of like standard, one rule for me and another for you. That's what I found this very weird and offensive. And the idea of that is like, how do you think like a jelly bean, someone eating a jelly bean with your name on it is sexual when you yourself are actually behaving in a sexual manner in public to promote a anime series, which is very mature, right?
And what you said about panty and stocking, that is an incredibly raunchy show.
Yeah, I've seen it, so I know how raunchy that is. That's why I said mature, because it's fully out there. It's like R18, if you in the sense of that, at least 16, probably 16 2L thing. Ratings.
And I did send another tweet that Monica was saying about the jelly bean thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll pull that up because we'll just. Yep. So here's another one of her saying one of many examples. So like, what were the other examples? We still don't know, other than the hair pulling that Jamie Marchi also considered sexual.
But there was only two things they could think of that they could come up with, right? But then they doctored that whole photo thing with him hugging a girl, right? And then she was saying that, she's underage. Yet the girl herself came and said, no, I asked for this.
Yeah, there were several girls that were coming forward saying that no, this photo is being taken out of context. And I don't know if Monica and Jamie were endorsing that stuff about taking photos out of context, but sorry, I don't know if you can hear construction in the background.
No, you're fine.
Oh, good, thank goodness. Yeah, like this should tell you everything, just how low their standards were with sexual harassment. But what were the other things that I wanted to bring up before we get into Chris Sabat? So we've covered pretty much the main points, like the hypocrisy in all this, the low bars, and how they really don't care about other people, whether that's Ron Toye as an abusive father, and there was even a restraining order filed against him by his second wife. So Monica is technically his third girlfriend.
Right.
And Damon Mills, and there's of course Chris Sabat, which that's the main topic of today. And something I want to correct in part one is where I said if this was a work of fiction, it would be I said it would be accused when I should have said criticized, but that's just bad wording on my part. So if this was a work of fiction, it would be criticized for for poor story structure and unsatisfying resolution. But this is how it played out. So I just bring that up to correct bad wording on my part in part one. And there's also Jessica Price from Guild Wars 2. Do you know this person?
No.
Okay, so I wish I wanted to pull up screenshots of her tweets before. Now, she doesn't work at Funimation, but she was let go from Guild Wars 2 for harassing fans online. Like, Funimation would have let go Monica and Jamie 10 times over, but Jessica Price was that kind of person, twisting things as like a gender thing, where people were criticizing her about the way narratives should be told and stuff. And we're not going to take words from a man. And she was let go. But then the news media, like the Kotakus, the Gamer
Oh, you're talking
Verge,
about the most
whatever.
recent thing right now, right?
Pardon?
Are you talking about the most recent thing now, or is this in the past?
Oh, this is 2018, but I bring this up because companies can fire people for harassing fans. Like,
Yeah.
and I think if I was more prepared this morning, then I would have brought her tweets up so we can get context what she was saying. And even when she was let go, she was still saying that the developers don't support women; they support online harassment. Like, no, love, you were the harasser.
Right.
So I wanted to bring that up, and I guess Funimation, whether it would be the more well-known news outlets or would have been Anime News Network, that was an outlet that was against Vic Mignogna, and yeah, maybe Funimation didn't want to be called out. Yeah, is there anything you want to say about letting go of people for harassing customers?
Well, at the end of the day, like even like you're in a customer service industry, right? And you're like the first person. You're representing your company to the customer, who is the paying person. If you are not doing a good job at that, your boss, the company, can let you go at any time, right? If you get a couple complaints, one complaint is fine, and then they'll watch you, right? They'll watch you and say, hey, take your side. Listen, we've had a complaint. One time we thought we'll see if they were just, having a go at you for no reason. But the second time it's like, yeah, we're noticing something. Can you change or, behave a bit more friendly towards the customer? And if you're getting upset, just go take time out and let somebody else take over. This is how we deal, because I used to be in customer service for about 40 odd years. And as well as like owning my own business, right? At one point as a comic shop guy. So
That's impressive.
yeah, so you kind of like, and this is senior sales as well, not just your average person there, but actually a senior salesperson. So you kind of like go, hey, this is what's going on. Just take time out, go out the staff room, chill, then come back and serve if you're a bit hot under the collar. Now, the third time, right, because usually they expect you to do the way that we do it over here. You get 3 warnings and you're out. And so the third time, and if you haven't changed and you've realized that you're just making it worse, and your staff people are coming up, your fellow workers are coming up and saying, listen, this is making it really bad, because customers saying, I don't want, that guy is like really putting me off coming to work, to come and spend my money at your place, because this is all about money. This is what these people don't understand on the left side, on the far left, right, on these ideologues, right? This is about money, keeping people employed, because you're not the only one who is employed there. It's all your other workers, then the manager, then the boss, then the overhead. If it's a multinational company, overhead was, making sure there's enough money coming in to keep the lights on. Now, if you are out there harassing your customers, which is the fans in this case, since we're talking about anime, then you're like you are really damaging your entire company and your other fellow workers who are working their butt off, try to get more money coming into the company. They're trying to get paid. And if you are doing damage to that, they can anytime let you go. And it's their right to, as long as they have the rules, like they tell you when it happened, what happened, and they give you the 3, sometimes they might even give you 2 if you're really belligerent. But 3 is where we are in New Zealand. And I think Aussie would be the same, right?
Yeah, probably. And a couple more things, because I realize we've been live streaming for an hour, but just before we get to Chris Sabat, I do want to share these series of retweets from other Funimation actors that Monica was sharing. So we will bring that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's in your DMs, and I'm about to play a compilation of all the actors calling out Chris Sabat, But as you can see here on the top, we got Brandon McInnes. I don't know who that is, but retweeting Justin Briner, who's also there. There's J. Michael Tainham. As a victim of assault, I've learned that predators thrive on the status quo. I want to help create a world where speaking out ignites solidarity, not silence. Support, not suspicion. I believe the victims. I stand with the survivors. You have a voice. We hear you. Justin Briner, the voice of Izuku from My Hero Academia. I believe survivors wholeheartedly and strive to continue educating myself. Educating myself through the voices of those I trust. You got trust issues, mate. I encourage you
I'm
to...
gonna, I'm gonna talk a bit more about this. I think this is interesting to bring up. Carry on, Lee.
Oh, just nothing else to say. Most importantly, listen. Well, you're not listening, and I'm going to prove that to you, Justin, with this compilation that I've assembled. So, what did you want to say?
So you got a next one?
Oh,
Can I go? Shall I talk on this now?
So there's Monica and Brandon McInnes. Actually, I think I do have Jamie. Considering.
Yeah. Do you have another one before I go into talk about the essay thing?
Yes, I do have one of Jamie that I was trying to bring up in part 1. There you go. So we'll take it from the top.
Yeah. Let me just bring it up.
Yeah, apologies for not
knowing
what sharing screen is doing. All right. Would your parents, I don't know who she's responding to here, but would your parents be proud of the way you have treated me? Please think about how you're treating people, how VIX fans are treating people. What are you telling victims of assault? No matter what they say, their answers will never be good enough. How about evidence, Jamie? Their assaulter is innocent until proven guilty. Wait, their assaulter... Oh, okay, that's weird, because Monica was saying guilty until proven innocent. So that's a contradiction there. But the... Oh, wait, what? I didn't read the second line.
So the assaulter is innocent until proven guilty, but they're guilty until proven innocent. Consider you might be encouraging ape culture. I don't want your answer. It's not about me. I want you to think for yourself. Do you want victims to think their voices don't matter? This is the weirdest thing.
She contradicts Monica and herself in one tweet.
Yeah.
But this is all you need to know about these types of people. Do you want victims to think their voices don't matter? They don't matter to you, Jamie. They don't matter to Monica. They don't matter to Justin Briner. They don't matter to J. Michael Tatum. None of them. And I'm about to prove it, because I have a link that will show you all the actors that I found, and who knows how many, because there's a lot of Q&A panels and interviews out there. So we're going to play this whole video, and then we're going to go through each actor one by one. So are you ready to do this, Aru?
Yeah, give us the link.
Here you go. Let's bring it up.
All right.
So first is the voice of Bulma. And then...
Give me one sec. Let me make sure I got the right one on the right place. And all actors calling out 7, right?
Who is your favorite?
Now, tell me when I need to stop, and I'll stop it.
Who is your favorite?
We'll watch the whole thing, then we'll go through one by one.
You got to say other than Bulma.
Other than Bulma.
It's funny because it's hard to differentiate between the character that I love, the character I like to play the best, and then the person, the voice actor that I like the best out of all those. So marry, shag, kill. I would marry Vegeta. I think I shagged Yamcha, maybe not. And I would kill
your end?
Boo, because he turns me into a piece of chocolate and eats.
I find that whole marry, shag, kill kind of thing, whatever it is, all weird. I don't know why people do that.
I think it's just a fun little game. I guess we might as well talk about it because we paused it. But what she's saying is it's important
who
to
is this, by the way?
differentiate. What?
Who is that person, by the way? The one in the blonde.
Tiffany Vollmer, the voice of Vollmer in the original Funimation dub, before she was
Did she
swapped
change
out
her
for
name?
Monica. Huh?
Does she change her surname? Or is that a real name?
Yeah, that's her real name, Vollmer.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we're saying here is she's saying important to differentiate, or it's difficult to separate the character from the actor. And I think that's a sign where she doesn't get she likes Vegeta, but doesn't like the voice actor of Vegeta, in this case, Chris Sabat.
Right.
Yeah, so you got to read between the lines what she's saying here. But was that all in sync for you? Because it was out of sync on my end.
No, it was fine. I think there's a bit of delay for you. It usually is the case when it comes to this.
Okay, so that's Tiffany Vollmer, who was recast, and as we know, Chris Sabat is the one who leads. Maybe I need to bring it up again, but Chris Sabat is the CEO of Okutron 5000. That's a dubbing studio that's partnered with Funimation, and of course they record Dragon Ball there, so he has the power.
Right.
All right, let's continue playing.
Okay.
Eats me, and that is not okay.
That's not cool. No, that's not cool at all.
No.
Kids, it's been great talking to you. I hope you learned a lot about carrots. Also, did you know that when I started out, I actually had to sleep with Chris Sabat to get a job?
Pause.
We knew everything.
So, that was Sonny Strait and Sean Schimmel's voice of Krillin and Goku. And he there is another instance of Sonny Strait joking about Chris Sabat's casting couch, which is something that Chuck Huber brought up in his affidavit. And that's how these clips came together when Chuck Huber brings up casting couch. Like, why should we listen to Chuck Huber? And maybe if I have don't know which one it is. It might take a minute to find. But with what Chuck Huber was saying, why should we listen to him? How do we know he's not making up stories to defend his friend Vic Mignogna? And, well, it turns out, whether Chuck Huber realized it or not, he had backup. Because there's these interviews and Q&As of the actors talking about the very things that Chuck was. So there seems to be common knowledge about Chris Sabat's casting couch and stuff. And every joke has an inspiration behind it.
That's why jokes, are important, because you get to use humor to tell a bit of truth, and that's why jokes work, because there is humor, real things in it, truths in it, and that's why we laugh at it, because we see the truth in the joke, and we laugh at ourselves because of it. So yeah, this is interesting, man. I didn't even know this was out there.
Yeah, but this interview is from 2013, which is 6 years before 2019, when people took notice of it. It's like, oh yeah, a bit of lighthearted humor. And you even see Sean Schimmel and Sonny Strait trying to shake it off, I don't know what that was about. So now we got Kara Edwards, who is also one of the women's, not like an accuser, but speaking out against Vic. And we'll back up a bit and then we'll play her bit.
Right.
But
we knew everything about everybody's personal life. Like, Chris Sabat had to hear about every guy I dated. He had to hear about every, and then he did this. And then, it was just crazy. And they would make fun of, oh gosh, we had so many jokes. They would make fun of us like crazy. And he had all these awful nicknames for me. And he would call them out in the middle of sessions. And gosh, those were fun days.
Pause.
How did you both?
That was pretty weird. She doesn't usually you can tell people's facials. This is for me, whenever I have my my art meetings, right? Or even if I've that's why I always show my face. right? So you can see my reactions to whatever you're saying. So when I see that, like, she's like, oh, that was a fun day, she doesn't look like she's having fun. Like, it's serious.
No.
It's so freaking serious. Like, if you, let me just go back to that. So so she
Awful
says this,
nicknames for me.
For me, and he would like call him out in the middle of sessions, and
right?
gosh,
Yeah,
those were
look at the
fun
eyes.
days.
Yeah, yeah,
She
she's
wasn't
looking down on
really
the
having
ground
fun
like,
at
no,
all.
no, this wasn't fun at all.
Yeah, like, she hates the fact that they did that. I mean, he did that to her. You know,
Folks, they would
And
make fun of us like
and he-
crazy, and he had all these awful nicknames for me, and he would like call him out in the middle of sessions, and gosh, those
Yeah.
were fun days.
yeah, they were not fun. You can tell by her
No,
facials.
and that first bit as well, we had to hear about every guy he dated. Was it a date though? I don't think
Yeah.
so. But every guy, like,
thing, like most guys, like, you know, when you're meeting people, you don't tell people about who you dated because it's like your body count. Guys, you know, you have to be very narcissistic about, you know, how many people you've dated. The only reason I would say that is because sometimes, you know, I tell people that because I go, listen, you know, you might think that such and such about me, but I have, you know, my first girlfriend was Taiwanese, right? And then I had a Maori girlfriend, and then I had a European, then I had an Irish. That's all. I'm never going to tell you who they were and when it was, but I'm just going to tell you that's my past, you know. And then I also was married for 9 years to an Indian girl or a lady, right? But you don't tell that to people in the sense of like trying to say, I'm a hot dude, people sleep with me. And that's what it felt like there, right? You have to get with me because, you know, I'm that, everybody's getting into with me, so you might as well get with me as well. It's kind of icky, right? If you're a female hearing that, and you can see it on her face, right? That's why she's bringing it up, because she's saying, say it's icky. You know?
just like with Sean Schimmel and Sonny Strait, it's in the facial expressions. Like, you can tell that it's Chris Sabat is a very dodgy man.
Yeah.
And every guy he dated, like, how did this span across? Like, did it span across years? Like, how many did he date? If you're gonna bring it up like that,
yeah.
but she's even shocked to bring it up.
Are we saying, like, is she saying that Chris Sabat is bi?
I don't know.
Because she's saying guy. She didn't say girl, every guy. So, and I have no problem with that. Like, yeah, everybody knows about me, so I have no problem with that. But like, that's what I found strange, because I thought he was like straight.
Well, he is married to a woman, and I do know Chris Sabat has daughters, and they're going to be devastated when they find out what kind of man their father is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be so rough for them.
That's the other thing, that these people in the so-called celebrity scene or in the public eye really don't care about their families, their children. Because I'm very, like, even like with my families and stuff, I'm very protective of them, because I know I'm up here all the time. So, you know, I don't even add my, like, there's only randomly that I would ever add my family members actually on social media, because it's got to do with them specifically, like a photo they're in or something. But I would, you know, I even like don't, I stop my, you know, like I don't add my niece and nephews to my Facebook, because in a lot of, like, it's become kind of like a business kind of thing in the art sort of scene. And I don't, you know, and so I don't add my family members to that. And I also ask my family members not to add me to theirs, because we have our own private chat, you know, and we talk to each other on Messenger, but not on our Facebook, because I don't want people to see who they are in case they get weird later on and they start to target them. So I wish that people would be more conscientious about their family members when they are behaving like this in public.
I don't want to say to be fair, because it sounds like I'm defending Chris Sabat. That's the last thing I want to do. But he may have gotten married like way later on, like maybe mid 2010s, and this is like the 2005s, 2007s. I don't know if Chris Sabat still runs his casting couch. Like, that would be horrible if he's cheating on his wife. We have no proof of that. We can only speculate.
Yeah.
So now we got another instance of Sunny Straight and another actor. Don't know who this is, but another instance joking about the casting couch.
Is Sunny Straight the guy in the glasses?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, how did you both get into voice acting in the beginning?
Well, I slept with Chris Sabat. I know about that. Yeah, you too?
That's twice he said it.
Yes. But this time there's no holdback. I'm just realizing this now. He's not holding back on joking about the casting couch. So we keep playing.
I mean, if we're already hunting the topic, we might as well.
We all did, actually.
It just took me many years before he eventually brought me out to Texas. So.
Yeah, it was not so much a casting couch as a casting love seat.
I have done some fighting reactions for Kitty Grade.
Okay, pause.
And my engineer took them all.
Pause. Yeah, so just it's another instance of joking about the casting couch. Like, where did this come from? It wasn't like public knowledge, and nowadays I think they'll be more cautious when joking about Chris Sabat and how he got all these women to come into Dragon Ball. Anything you'd like to add before we get to
So
the last one?
they mentioned Kitty Grade. So I'm just going to play this. So for people who don't know what that you know, what that is, because I've seen Kitty Grade anime. So let me just have a let's have a bit of some visual on this one. So this is the Kitty Grade.
I've never watched this anime.
Yeah. No, I watch a lot. There's something that I like, you know, because I'm a writer, so I need to have as much info. What do we call it? Like research, right? Ideas, concepts, what's out there.
Yeah, you need context.
Yeah. So Kitty Grade, Grade is like
it's an anime that
more mature.
It's like what?
It's a more mature sort of thing. It's not. It's like a PG, 13 plus. It's not like for kids per se.
Yeah, maybe.
So, yeah. But yeah, let's get back to the other one. But I just thought it would be good to show people what sort of what she's talking about in that sense.
Or was this Chris?
I think what's also important to note that
I think it was Chris. Took them all.
Pause. Yes, I also put in Monica tweets in there. So we'll back up, and for full context, someone also leaked to Ricada Law about the funny leaks, which were these raunchy recordings that they played around with each other. Like, do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. That's what made me really. That's the time when I actually paid attention to those, because before that I was just like, I enjoy I enjoy Elric, I enjoy all these different animation and anime stuff, and then I didn't realize that this was suddenly was blowing up. This is about 2018, wasn't it? Like when it started taking off with the whole situation with the Me Too.
Well, 2019 was a year of the defamation stuff, but all these interviews and clips, this one from Colleen, I believe, is 2007. At least that's what's the uploader listed in the description of his video. And this is one that I found that shared around the internet. Oh, this is just my compilation, but
sure.
we can find the original Q&A if we took the time, but with the funny leaks, there were stuff in it like Sean Schimmel referring to his son as an FAGGOT, which I realized that word hasn't become as common anymore, because it used to be common in my generation, and people don't say that word anymore.
It was a derogatory thing you said to someone, right? As like to challenge their manhood or such, misogyny, whatever. But sometimes
and now it's a slur.
Yeah, as a slur. But usually, we used to didn't take mind of it. But when you because like if your mate said it, it was a joke. But if somebody outside your friendship circle said it, you'd be like sussed. Like, is he trying to like target me or something like that. And so there is that side of things when it comes to like slurs, because I know I've had somebody call me that to my face, and I was like, you don't know me, so you are actually, trying to challenge who I am as a male. And sure enough, it turned out to be a really belligerent person. Had to be kicked out of the whole place. Carry on. So we go back to the video. Okay.
Yep. So this is Colleen Clinkenbeard, and I do have a tweet. No, not a tweet, but a screenshot. That. Where
check it in. Check it on Twitter, and I'll bring it up. Did you want to go to that before the video? Okay.
I think we should look at the tweet before we play Colleen's clip.
Okay.
Hopefully that doesn't reset the video.
No, that's fine.
But
it's there. So
what I got here is credits that Colleen has worked on, from Full Metal Alchemist on top, and at the bottom is My Hero Academia. And the reason that I bring up Colleen's ADR director credits is because Chuck Huber specifically mentions senior Funimation directors have described the work environment as an Orwellian slave factory. Now, we don't have a confirmation or anything on Colleen because she's pretty much been silent throughout almost the entire defamation saga. But, as far back as Fullmetal Alchemist, the original, not even Brotherhood, I think that's one of the senior directors that Chuck Huber may have spoken to. And we even have a clip of her sharing her own story, because the other clips that we've seen up until this point have been vague, but Colleen's is specific with her story on Chris Sabat.
Okay. So we're back to the video?
And, yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Here we go.
And she's also the voice of Luffy in One Piece.
I've done some fighting reactions for Kitty Grade, and my engineer took them all, or was this Chris Sabat? Might have been Chris who did this. I think it was Chris. Took them all, totally something he would do. Put them together, and then put porn music behind the track, and then put the sound of bed springs behind it. So it sounded like I was making a porn. And then at the end, he included a line that I'd said in the show, something like, "I'm out of here," or something like that.
Yeah, Amanda Winley, one of the most vocal friends of Monica, standing up for her, and yeah, she's honestly another worthless piece of trash. So, yeah.
So one of my very first experiences at Funimation was a little humiliating.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like, I mean, you're talking about like professionalism, and because this is a workplace, right? Workplace environments, you're supposed to be professional, because you don't do anything to jeopardize the name, your company for anything. Like, I mean, like for me, like I'm part of a publisher, so even though I'm here, all the time now, like about 5 times a week, I never want to bring ill repute to my publisher, right? Even though I'm part of that company, I own shares in it, I still don't want to bring ill repute to anybody part of that company. And I don't want to be out there, saying things that might harm the company. I've even had to hold my tongue when other people have said it, right? Because when you are working for a company, you want to show, because you're part of some company that has other people working on it, because whatever you say yourself that brings damage to that damages everybody else in there. So it's really weird to see Chris Sabat doing all this stuff, humiliating other people. Like, this is females getting humiliated, and he's sexualizing their work, and like using porn sounds, right? And because like this is work that's out there now. Like this stuff is out there. Like you said, what's his name? somebody gave those those audio tapes to Ricardo Law, right? And I heard them, and I was like, holy hell, to have your professional work then be treated this way, and then out there in the world, because it's all public now, and they're like, oh, imagine like showing up to work, and somebody's actually seen that and say, so you took part in that, and then you got to explain now, no, some a-hole basically did that to try to humiliate me. And so is that this, what was that environment like? Well, as you can see, this is the environment was like that I worked there. So were you okay with that? And it's all this freaking thing you got to explain.
Chris Sabat. Yeah. The problem is Chris Sabat is like the boss of them. He may not be the CEO of Funimation, but he clearly has power. And I think what we're not seeing, like 5 years. It's been 5 years since this stuff came out, and no one else has really come forward against Chris Sabat. And I think that's either one or two theories, that they're afraid of losing their job or getting blacklisted from the industry, like something that Chuck Huber mentioned in his affidavit. Or the other theory could be that they want to maintain this narrative around Vic Mignogna, and by calling out Chris Sabat, even though he's the real predator, then it defeats their war against Vic. But I don't know. Right? I don't know if that's true or not. That's just pure speculation on my part. There's a third one too,
Doctor. I think that there's a third one, I think, as well. And this is this one that there's always three sides of the story. The third one would be that they participated in some things that he's got recordings of, right? That they're afraid
like Chris Sabat's recordings.
Yeah, that they're afraid that'll come out if they mouth off against Chris Sabat, right? If they say something about him, he will now expose them, and that's their livelihood, their character assassination that he could use against them, right? So so rather than going, he's a real, look over there, right? And it's kind of.
I just realized we haven't brought up a single image of Chris Sabat the whole time we've been talking. Did you see that? Did you see that email I sent the other day?
Let me jump in there and see it. So I think I might have missed that. Now, do you have one on hand? Let me just go find.
I could download it again so people can get a good image of Chris Sabat and his ugly mug.
Okay, here we go. So, right. So this is actually what I'll do is I'll actually put them into another link. That'll be probably easier. Oh, come up. So this is him here.
Yeah.
There we go.
This is the guy who voices the symbol of peace in My Hero Academia, and bit concerned about my email leak there.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Maybe just the image. Open up a new tab.
Yeah, I thought that's what I was doing, but it didn't do it. Apologies, dude. Let me go find it and do it properly.
Yeah, download and upload to Twitter DM, and that should do.
How'd you see it? I didn't see it. Like your image. Copy.
Oh, well, I'll download it and then we'll send it through.
No, I got it. I'm just trying to bring it up. Give me 1 sec. That's why I usually like to have it all open ready for you, but I didn't have it here. Sorry. Because I think I missed out on that email. All right, so desktop.
Yep, so I just sent it through Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's easier for me to work through. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, so to get an idea what Chris Sabat looks like, and I think this image does paint him as an intimidating villain, and fittingly so, because Chris Sabat is such a shady man who does have history. like all these clips from over the years. These are just the ones that people have found, that people recall. Like, I think even I was a bit late, a few days later. It wasn't until a few days later when it clicked with me that I've heard these stories before about Chris Sabat, specifically the last one with Colleen Klinkenbeard. And notice that Colleen specifically says, totally something he would do. That implies repetition, that there is history, and where there is history, there is consistency.
Right.
It's a pattern of behavior.
Okay, carry on. So I'm just going to look for the folder with you had a We Stand with Vic folder, so I'm going to go bring that up, that video. But carry on, talk about this.
Yep. So Chris Sabat, I met him in 2016, and that was the DVD that he signed, and had no idea that he was a bloody monster at the time. And it's really saying something, like all this talk, like just how committed Monica and Jamie are to paint Vic Mignogna as a monster, when really, like, the monster is right beside him this whole time. And Chris Sabat's been very sneaky throughout the Vic Mignogna saga. He's not too vocal, but at one point he was caught calling Vic's fans autistic. Well, if anything, I say autism is a gift, because as someone with autism, there is obsession. And it's through this obsession that's still talking about this story today. And I will not let go of it. I'll keep bringing it up for as many times as I need to until can reach to someone that may have influence to do a proper investigation and can do something about this, because this cannot go on for as long as it has. And as I said, that it's been 5 years since all this was coming out with Chris Sabat, with the casting couch, Stephanie Nadolny tweet, and all the rumors that were turning out to be true with Sonny Strait and Kara Edwards. Like, I don't know if Monica was even responded to this. It would make it look dumber, but I wouldn't be surprised if she said that. Actually, with Stephanie Nadolny, she said that she thought Nadolny was her friend for calling out Chris Sabat, which Monica actually has referred to Chris Sabat as her anime husband. And I know I have that tweet somewhere. Is it this one? Yep, it is that one. So this is actually a screenshot with a collection of tweets. And if we bring that one,
this is in your let me just check. So we were back in Twitter.
Yep.
Excellent.
So numerous times over the years, Monica has referred to Chris Sabat as her anime husband, and here's another case in 2019. So this Twitter user has been archiving all these tweets from the actors, and Monica here saying, in 2019, trying to paint Vic as a monster, that Chris Sabat is my anime husband, ladies and gentlemen. By VAs going crazy, do you mean VAs supporting the victims and sharing their own experiences? Because that's not going crazy. That's called being honest. That you should probably pay close attention, or we did, to them, because those are the people who actually know what's going on. I'm sure they do, Chris Sabat. I'm sure they know what's going on.
So you got Erica Mendez, Emma Fife, Monica Rial, Jamie Marchi.
Yeah, well, Jamie, that's in 2012. Don't forget about Chris Sabat Natch, whatever that means. And Erica Mendez saying, oh, you're going to hug a baby to balance out that awkwardness threesome you had with Austin Tyndall and his beard as well. I don't know if you call that sexual harassment, but Erica, don't project your fantasies onto me, Sabat. That's just a weird comment to be stating publicly.
Yeah,
but yeah, the most the most important one is Monica, that she's already been caught defending Ron Toye, her current boyfriend, where Ron admitted in deposition that why did you divorce from your second wife? Because I was an asshole, in his own words. And Monica said, "Oh, you don't know who the real villain is in all this," like defending her abusive partner. Even though he's admitted to it, Monica's still defending him.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is wrong with this woman? And it's no wonder, like, you'll notice Q&A panels and interviews, even to this day, they're all mass disliked by Monica. So you can't even say this is a vocal minority, because you look at Vic's Q&A panels that he can fill up an auditorium.
Yeah.
Like, clearly it's not the minority. Like, the majority of people despise Monica.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, she's got the vocal, she's got the mic, right? And it's been like that for ages, for years right now, where she's had the mic and she could say whatever she wants. But when you really look at it, like, the fans of Vix are actually real fans and support him for him as an actor, as a voice actor, and for his, his I guess what you say, we were talking about Akira Kuriyama, his contributions to anime in the English, sense of voice acting, dubs and stuff like that. I kind of, nobody really wins here out of making false accusations, because the one thing that I want to get back to, like, the whole sexual, people, like, how what I hated about this was the diminishing of what actual sexual assault is, what abusers are, what they do. And a lot of these people who make these accusations don't understand how that now perception is, like, if a jelly bean is an assault, someone eating that, it diminishes the actual real friggin' horror of assault, right? And the fear, the predatory aspects of that, the pain, the injury and all that, is so real for people who've been through it, that to think that that same thing is the same as someone eating a jelly bean with your name on it, or someone just tweaking at your hair, right?
That might be that might be a fourth theory why Chris Sabbath's victims are afraid to come forward. And I did send that video that you wanted to bring up of people supporting Vic Mignogna and cheering his name.
Yeah.
You wanted to play that?
Let me just see if I can get the audio to come through right. So, yeah, if we go through there, because just going to see if the audio is going to come through right. So, because sometimes, like, when I do these, the audio doesn't want to come through on us here. So hopefully you can hear it through my mic if there is an issue there. So let's play this. So, yeah, see, it doesn't want to come right. Let me find it again. Let's try that. Nope. One more time.
I'm about to. We stand with Vic. Who stands with Vic? 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 We stand with Vic. Oh yeah! Woo! All right, you ready for the last one? Go, Tortious! 1, 2, 3, go! We want it. 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 No, he's gonna come and we want it. Come on. We want it. Okay, sorry. Put the personality. I don't have that. That's a whole road around me. I got no regrets, man.
I believe that was Kitchener Con in early 2020.
And you see the joy, right?
Oh yes.
And there's
Vic
a
Mignogna
difference
said something
between Vic's fans and between, you know, Sabbath, Real, and all that, and Marchi, because usually you can tell how much someone, you know, likes something is by the joy on their faces. You know, that's why I was telling you earlier about how, you know, Clinkenbeard and I think it was like the other lady there who was saying, oh, you know, he does horrible things, and you know, and we, you know, it's all fun and like, but really when you see their faces, it's not really fun. And so it's really good to see that, like, the joy of, you know, the people who support Vic, not in the sense like because they know him, they've been around him, they've gone to the cons, they've talked to him, they have interactions with him that are really joyful and you know, happy moments. However, when you listen to the other, you know, those other three, there's a lot of this animosity towards the fans. There's also this whole, you know, you guys are the bad guys, we're the good guys kind of mentality. Whereas like when you look at what Vic brings, it's just like, yeah, we're all having fun here, you know.
And this is one of the reasons I brought up that clip of from Happy Feet. Descent leads to division, division leads us to doom. And we were all fans of these people. Like, I don't think they don't understand that a lot of people were fans of Monica and Vic and Sabbath, and now they've literally split the fandom. And so, yeah, that's what I mean about division. It is a dangerous weapon, but I think it's hurt them more in the long run as their reputation has been critically damaged in the public eye. That's something else. They kept saying that they're public figures, and I don't know why Ricada was trying to downplay that. I mean, I would say they're public figures, being invited to conventions. Yeah, I think it's something legally, like, I don't know, but I don't understand.
I think it's kind of like the reason I do that is because there's a different standard to being a public figure and a private person, right? I mean, I see myself as a public figure, right? As well as, you know, private person, because I'm on here in the public. So that's one of the other reasons I mentioned this week on our live streams, that like I see myself as an ambassador by doing this to my arts community here in Whangarei, where I live, and to New Zealand, because I'm out here just about every day. So I have to be mindful of the fact that people are seeing me as a New Zealand comic creator representing my town, my artist, you know, community. And so I don't want to bring any harm by my behavior publicly to my, you know, private relationships as well as my public relationships, because I know the mayor, I know some very, you know, big names in our community, and so I don't want my, you know, somebody going to my mayor is like, oh, so you're friends with him? Did you see what he said? You know, and I don't want that. So I, you know, and that's what I mean about like people behaving differently in public, and then like because they represent their company, and so you bring a lot of damage, and they have brought a lot of damage. You know, people have like, and a lot of they don't really understand all these, like, you know, these websites that are closing down and stuff. It's because of them, right? Those people who supported these
websites.
Guys. Yeah, like, you know, like is it Kotaku with like the Sweet Baby Ink? Kotaku is going to be the next one that's going to fail, because everybody that used to support them. Yeah, so if everybody that used to support Kotaku go read their messages or their articles, all the gamers now who are, you know, were doing that, realize that now they're supporting Sweet Baby Ink, who is attacking the gamers, right? And the racist people over at Sweet Baby Ink. They're not gonna go and, you know, click on their, you know, on their website to get them ad revenue. So that revenue is going to go down because of their behavior siding with Sweet Baby Ink. And this is how it's happened with, you know, was it Crunchyroll that went down recently, you know?
Oh, no, not Crunchyroll, but there was another woke outlet that did shut down. I don't know if it was The Verge but there was a news outlet that did shut down, and people were looking at, was it The Gamer? I don't know.
Well, the PC Gamer is another one that's part of that, and also Eurogamer as well, right? So, or was it Rooster Teeth that went down?
Well, Rooster Teeth is a company that was deceased or defunct, I guess, because Yeah, people have been predicting for so long that Rooster Teeth is going down under. Like Ruby, their golden goose isn't doing as well anymore, and the show has gone tremendously down in quality from what I've heard, and even the fan base is toxic.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, I don't like Warner Brothers canceling projects, especially with Coyote versus Acme, and we still don't know the status on that movie, but I did see a clip of the writer coming out saying that it's still being screened. She said, the way she was talking, there's still hope for that movie, but I say like good riddance to Rooster Teeth. I never watched any of their shows, so I don't have any bias towards them.
Yeah.
But from what I'm hearing, like all the horror stories and the toxic work environment, how the animators were crunched to oblivion, and it was just not a good company. Like the products weren't good, the people weren't good, and I'd say opposite to Akira Toriyama, nothing of value was lost.
Yeah. So was Rooster Teeth a studio, or was, because I don't know much about them apart from the name. So is it a studio? Is it a anime house as such, or was it a website?
It was a studio, created by a guy named Monty Orm, who sadly passed away at the early age of 33 because he had an allergic reaction to taking medicine or something, and he died like season 3 of Ruby, and from there the show just went down because yeah, sadly, and from what I hear, Ruby was never finished, so it's just a show that will go incomplete.
So was Ruby like, I mean, like I know Ruby did something with like what is it called, what was it with DC Comics, right? Crossover.
There was a crossover, and that's because Rooster Teeth and Warner Brothers, DC are both owned by Warner Brothers.
Right. So I never got to see the, I mean, like, I didn't actually see the actual movie or something, but here's a clip from that, the crossover thing, because they went and, it was, I always get the spelling wrong because it's RWBY, Ruby, right? So
correct.
Here's a little 40-second clip from it, 48 seconds.
Tomorrow, aren't Grim blocking the road? It wouldn't take long to go around.
Or we smash right through. Take out the Grim and reach the next stop on patrol even faster.
Is that Marchi or Rial?
I don't know. I don't know who voices Ruby.
Ruby, you can't keep doing this. Today it was a King Taiji-2. Yesterday
I'm pretty sure that's not Monica.
And before that,
terrible
Ravagers.
CGI
Right.
anime.
How could I forget Ravagers?
Well, that's how it started as like a web series.
Very driven, confident even. But lately you're just throwing yourself into danger. Don't you care about the future?
As long as we save Remnant, what else is there?
So as a web series, and like I thought it was like a what you call it, like a fan supported project, wasn't it? And they were supposed to promote. From what I understand, they're supposed to help Japanese animators create this, but they ended up doing it themselves, and wasn't like the Japanese animators weren't part of it or something.
I think that's Crunchyroll you were referring to, where Crunchyroll is supposed to directly support the Japanese creators. But then, weirdly, Crunchyroll released their own series, High Guardian Spice. And that was absolutely atrocious. With Ruby, I don't know the backstory on its production. Now, I think...
intro.
What are we looking at?
Yeah, so there's a bit of an intro here. So let's have a look at this. What? Because we're saying it's bad, so I'll get you to talk about it a bit more.
Well, I don't know much about Ruby, as I never watched the show.
Yeah.
Oh, High Guardian Spice.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the anime style, because it's like, animation rather than like CGI, it looks better, but
but
so it moves a bit more fluid.
Well, one of the problems is with the animation is overlapping. Like, for example, you'll see characters walking through flower pots in the show.
Oh,
and
I see. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of clipping, as what it's called. Even that bit was a bit rough looking. There's so many rough edges in the animation, but what really turned people away from this is that this is from Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll is supposed to directly support the Japanese creators. That's why they were sponsoring. That's what they were telling the content creators who were sponsoring Crunchyroll, that we support the Japanese creators if you love anime. And then they thought they could do their own anime, and I've heard there's a lot of LGBT propaganda in this show.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure there are other videos that cover this at greater lengths. Just everything wrong with High Guardian Spice. And I would like to go back to Colleen Klinkerbeard and Chris Sabat. That Colleen, pretty much the person that stopped me from being a sexist, and she was just a good person from the looks of it. And voice of Urza from Colleen. And like from watching her Q&A videos, because there was a period let's not play the video just so I could hear myself talk. Sure. There was a period I remember where there were no Q&A videos of Colleen, and I was going through older ones like this one that came up, and who would have thought years later I would remember that she does. I do have something on Chris Sabat and what Colleen has shared here that takes her audio without her knowledge or consent and making it a porn parody. I do have another clip of this that I put together of Monica's clips from her deposition. Right. So we'll watch that version coupled with Colleen's clip. And, well, I mean, I do care about Colleen. That Colleen has had a massive impact on my life. So all this talk, they don't care about women. No, we don't care about the bad women.
Yeah.
And I want Colleen to come forward and share what else she said about Chris Sabat. I do support victims, Jamie, Monica. But let's watch this clip that I put together.
Yeah.
With Monica's clips from a deposition.
Okay. Give me 1 sec. I will grab the link. Bring it up on screen.
Can I just say that I'm really glad that you can't hear all the construction that's going on in the background. It's been playing out throughout the entire live stream.
No, it's fine. Let me just grab that. Oh.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's go back.
Would you say the work environment at Funimation is, what would you say about the work environment?
I'd say it's professional, but friendly.
I had done some fighting reactions for Kitty Grade, and my engineer took them all, or was this Chris Sabat? Might have been Chris who did this. I think it was Chris. Took them all, totally something he would do. Put them together, and then put porn music behind the track, and then put the sound of bed springs behind it. So it sounded like I was making a porn.
And what do you consider to be a safe work environment?
A safe work environment to me would mean being able to come to work and everyone is professional. There's no kind of weird harassment. There's no kind of anxiety. Basically making sure that it is a fun work environment, that nobody has to worry about anything that's going to make them uncomfortable or unhappy.
One of my very first experiences at Funimation was a little humiliating.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing that, because like especially how you like, show that and you show what she's saying in deposition. I mean, a lot of times, people are just not saying things because they don't want to be harmed outside of this. They know they've still got a life to live. They've still got to have a work, outside of it, and their work will dry up because you get blacklisted because someone out there is watching them, especially Chris Sabat, right, is watching this, and he's there or whatever, and he's paying attention to what everybody's saying. And that itself is a bad working environment, the fact that you got to watch what you say. And a courtroom,
yes.
right?
And it's probably not just Chris Sabat, but his bloody lackeys like Monica, Jamie, that they will call you out for Chris Sabat if you speak up against him. And it makes you really wonder, like, what was the tipping point for Harvey Weinstein? Like, what got those women to come forward?
When a big name, I think it had to do when a big person, and I think if I remember right, it was, who's that lady?
Uma Thurman?
No, it wasn't. It was, oh gosh, I can't remember her name, but she's very well known. And so she came out, and that's what started it, right? Now,
yeah.
But like in this case, like in that case with many others, right, that we've seen where females are going after males, it's based on falsehood. It's based on trying to protect the villain, and the actual innocent person is the ones that have been targeted because because they know all this is there. All this evidence is there. All these people have had these interactions with Chris Sabat, the real, villain in this whole story, because there's evidence of these people talking about it, not our evidence, but their own evidence that he's the villain. He's the one who, put out these things himself, and he's the one who's saying how these people they themselves are saying, we got the job because we slept with them, right? It's not us saying that, it's them out there in the public saying that, and this is how they treated them. So it's great. This is what I like about receipts, right? The idea that actual receipts are there with those people saying that, not any of us. Their tweets are there, and this way, so like for me, I'm not going to put out anything that's going to make, I'm not worried about too much about myself. I'm worried about the people that I work with, them looking bad because of what I behave like. And so these people are already themselves bringing out the truth over these since 2016 about this guy. Yet nothing's been done. These are actual things that happened to these people, yet they want to make you think that's like the guy over there. Vic is the guy who everybody loves. He's the terrible person because there was 2 instances where he ate a jelly bean and where he pulled somebody's hair to say, and it might, could be in jest. I know the worst thing I've done with a woman's hair is when I was like, totally exhausted, tired, and I just cut this girl's hair, and I was like, afterwards, I was like, shit, what the did you do? And ever since, I've always regretted that moment. And yet here, someone's pulled her hair, and that's that, right? He didn't even cut her hair, right? He didn't even like yank it out of the friggin', the ends, or he didn't like, go out there and go, rah, rah, rah. But that's considered, assault.
Yeah. Yeah, people completely exaggerate events that happened to paint themselves as victims. Like, what is it? Self-victimizing is it's too popular, and I think the punishments for defamation are not
being a victim is the most popular thing right now, right?
Yeah. Few more things with Colleen Klinkenbeard. I put out a voting poll on my Twitter account, which I will show you a screenshot of that, whether the Stand With Vic crowd supports Colleen or not. And we can see the results right here. So, 42 votes. And what does I Stand With Vic / the I Stand With Vic crowd think of Colleen Klinkenbeard? Do you think she's an actual victim, what she has explained about Chris Sabat, or just another terrible VA from Funimation? 42 votes, and majority said, I believe Colleen. So, about the whole Vic crowd are not the same caliber. They want women to be silenced. Just from the people that found this tweet, they voted for Colleen. So another defeat against Jamie's argument that we do support victims, especially when they have a case like you can even say, not just with Chuck Huber, but as for Colleen's narrative, that all these other people from Sunny Strait to Chuck again, Stephanie Nadolny, that these people have shared stories about Chris Sabat. Like I said, where there's consistency, there is history.
Yeah. And in the video, I mean, like, they're calling him out for that abuse. It's very evident, right? So, like, where are we here, right? Let me just play this on.
Captain Love Seat.
I've done some fighting reactions for Kitty Grade, and my engineer took them all, or was this Chris Sabat? Might have been Chris who did this. I think it was Chris. Took them all, totally something he would do. Put them together and put.
Yeah, I wanted to read the tweet again. So Monica's here saying, it wasn't until several of my dear friends came forward. She's hung out with Colleen numerous times. Came forward with similar stories recently, but I realized that this happens regularly. Well, it sounds like it happens regularly with Chris Sabat. And just so we're clear, you can be fired from a job for inappropriate behavior without ever having charges brought against you. I am only one voice in a sea of many. You may never hear the other stories. Well, we're hearing a lot of stories about Chris Sabat. Those women don't owe you anything. When you're trying to present a case, Monica, you can't just say something and people will blindly believe it, though some people did. I'm being so vocal because I don't want this to happen to another woman. Well, it's been happening to other women, Monica, and he's hurt enough people, referring to Vic. He's a sick man. He needs help. I hope he'll come to realize that. Now, as we remember in part 1, Vic Mignogna did try to reach out to Monica, and then Monica sent the email saying this is what he does. He's trying to charm his way out of it. She sent that email to Colleen Klinkenbeard. This woman! She sent that to this woman! So we'll keep playing.
Put porn music behind the track, and then put the sound of bed springs behind it.
My experience is minor in comparison to others. It's definitely minor, Jamie. However, having realized it was an isolated incident, I felt compelled to share. What is it with Monica and Jamie? Do they not feel threatened by Chris Sabat? Like, how do they view him?
There is a case of like woman wanted to change man. There is that whole idea of, I can change him, I can change him, I can change him. I've seen I don't know if we mentioned the first part where there was a domestic violence happening outside our home, and my dad and my uncle basically went to help this lady, and when the police arrived, she turned on my dad and my uncle, saying that he's the one who's hurting her husband or her boyfriend. Yet it was the boyfriend who was punching the guy. So the lady, right? And there is that, man. There is women who do that, who will protect their man. And like I've seen, for us, like I was at the door, I didn't see it happen, but because I was across the road. But when Dad's going like, she just went and turned on us, and we're trying to protect her against her partner who just drove up and she ran out of the car, and he came out and started going at her because they were having an argument in the car, and we were in the shop and saw it happen, so we went across to stop it. And the police, like my uncles, called the police because we had a phone in the store, and then the police arrives, and next thing you know, she's turning on my family members to say, well, they're the. It's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, and that's why a lot of males these days just don't get involved with these situations. And so you see, and then they'll turn around, right? Then the female will go, well, you saw this happen, why didn't you help me? It's like we've been privy to a lot of social media videos where the males are the ones who go to help are turned to be the ones who are like causing the problem when you are protecting the guy who's hurting you. And so a lot of males are now more careful about how they behave in the social media world where everybody's got they've got a camera on their phone. And so it's kind of sad to be in this environment. But this has been going on for 30 or 40 odd years, man. It's not nothing new where a female will like turn on to someone who's trying to protect them, because that tie to the partner is more important than actually being saved from that situation, and and then there's all this crazy women who try to help the prison people, people who are murderers and all that, write them letters and try to save them. Yes, I can do it, that whole idea that I can save them. And this is what I feel for these girls, right? That these ladies, that Jamie and Monica, they feel like, yeah, he needs us to protect him from the bad guys out there.
Well, we know one of the reasons they don't like Vic is because he's a conservative, so he's a Trump supporter. And say whatever you want about Donald Trump, I'm not going to get into that argument.
Yeah.
But what you were saying about they like the idea of changed men.
Yeah, changing men. Yeah.
Well, I don't think Chris Sabat is a man willing to change. Maybe he's the one that told them, like, because this is clearly a coordinated attack. Like, look at all these.
Oh yeah,
people.
hell yeah! It totally feels like that, and that's what I noticed in 2019 when this all came about. I was like, this is very, this is very evidence of like a whole bunch of people getting together, coordinating who they're going to target to keep out of going ahead, because he was getting the job to be an ADR director, right? Setting up his own studio and getting all that big, because that was going to make him rich, right? We don't want to talk about it like, we don't say much about this, but this is a business, right? So by him getting that job, setting it up in Texas and so on, it was going to make him a huge name by having an ADR director as such. So Japan would send that work to him and he would hire people to do that. Now, when it comes down to money, Sabat goes basically, supposedly, that he's thinking, now I've got a challenge to my economy, to my wallet, right? And people already know what sort of person Sabat is. So if people are now going to leave Sabat to go work with Vic, he's going to lose a lot of money and clout in the industry. This is the person you have to go to get your work, get the money. So people like Colleen and whoever, all those other people, Emma, right, Five, they would basically go and work for him because now there's a second, company who's doing that. And you'd find that lots of money will be changing hands. And a lot of people do that, right? Deep down, it's really protecting your bag, right? When it comes down to it. And that's why I felt like this was a coordinate, in my opinion, like a coordinate thing to stop him from becoming established as a studio where Japan could send, Mape and all those other people could send their work to, because he's someone that people actually like, unlike Sabat, who has sex with people to get them jobs, right?
I was going to bring up something, but I've forgotten. It's skipping my mind right now. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. But about Chris Sabat. I just thought of the fifth reason why the victims. Yes, now I remember. Why Chris Sabat's victims are afraid of coming forward. A fifth reason may be because Vic Mignogna his lawsuit was thrown out, and so nothing came out. And I guarantee if that case went forward, there would have been more evidence on Chris Sabat, because even like more evidence being exposed about him, because Ty Beard, Vic's lawyer, was not bragging but gloating about bringing down the house on Chris Sabat, but we came up with a code name for it, like Igor or something. and but he was obviously referring to Chris Sabat, and I don't think Vic Mignogna, whatever his status is right now, I think he's content or contempt where he is right now in life. That he's working with a new anime studio, a new dubbing studio, and he's got his Star Trek Continues series. He still gets invited to conventions. So Monica and Jamie lost in that battle. That Vic still gets invited to conventions. He clearly draws more crowds than they do. And when money talks, that's where companies listen. And Vic Mignogna, he's not just his autographs, but people paying to see him in the conventions. They're paying the conventions to see Vic. But I guarantee if Vic Mignogna's lawsuit went through and Monica and Jamie lost the defamation case, then we would have seen Chris Sabat's victims coming forward, and maybe we would have gotten these waves of victims saying how Chris treats them. And now that those walls have broken down with Monica and Jamie, that they've been defeated, there's one less barrier in the way to come forward on this predator who's harmed all these women. And I have one more thing to bring up, and I think this will be a good note to end on. And I'm going to send it on Twitter. So if you want to bring this up.
Sure. Okay.
So this is GalaxyCon, an online convention. And what this is a receipt that I paid to meet Colleen. I've met her. And
What year
from
was
what we...
this?
Huh?
Oh, it's 2020. Sorry, I just saw it.
Yep. And this was when I was at the lowest point in my life, and we'll keep the screen up. I was at the lowest point in my life with how distraught I was of Monica and not knowing Colleen's status, because she never even replied to this clip of her that was going viral around the internet. People making videos about it, and people on Twitter, which I've noticed on YouTube, some of those videos, I don't know if they're deleted or delisted, because can't really find like Hero Haze or Yellow Flashes anymore. I don't know why they're not around anymore. A bit weird on that. But with myself, I was at the lowest point that I needed to talk to Colleen, like, what's going on through all of this. And at the time, me and my father was dealing with court, the family court, with trying to argue that I'm independent of my money, because my mother's been trying to make an argument that for years that I need protection or special care, when really she wanted control, not just my life, but over my money, where, to put it bluntly, Mom wanted me to be dependent on her. Father wants me to be independent. And I bring this up because it was October when GalaxyCon announced Colleen, and that's when it was around the time I noticed this convention, and Father wouldn't let me talk to Colleen, which was going to be a fairy tale panel. And then after the court battle, or might have even been before that, when I saw Colleen come up again on GalaxyCon for One Piece, I just had to like purchase a 3-minute session to talk to her. And I didn't even talk to my father about this. I just have to do this because I was.
So what was the? I mean, like for that, because this is something like very Japanese, isn't it? Like the whole manga anime scene over in Japan, where like you get to shake the hand and you've bought a ticket specifically for those 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and you see that a lot. Like I haven't experienced that myself, because usually I'm just at the comic scene and I'm sitting there. I can sit there for an hour talking to a writer while he's doing his thing and just talking away, and I've done that. and you know, and I haven't paid to do that. I pay for photos, but I've never had to do that with comic writers or artists. However, anime in this scene is very different. So tell us a bit about that, dude.
Sorry, about anime in what
Yeah,
sense?
paying for a ticket to just to talk to someone, you know, at an event. And where was GalaxyCon, by the way?
Oh, this is an online convention.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't have to fly out anywhere, and this was perfect because this was during COVID, as you see in 2020.
Right.
And you know that's perfect. Like, if Monica didn't do what she did, I would have absolutely paid to see her 1000%.
Right.
But
so
nah.
So you bought
Nah,
a online ticket to like kind of like a Zoom sort of, you know, like we're doing here, right? So it was like this, and she's there, and you're talking to her about.
Yeah, exactly like this.
So what did you ask in that 3 minutes that you had with her? You know.
Prefer not to share, but let's just say from
but like, what was the interaction? Is what I should say. Was it worth the time and the money that you spent on it? I should ask that.
Absolutely, it was worth it. And I think, like, converted to Australian dollars, like, if I bring it up again, does it say like how much this cost? Well, I think it was close to like $80 for 3 minutes that I paid for. And part of the reason my father was worried is that I would be like spending like again and again with people that I want to meet. It actually varies depending on the person, the celebrity, how much they charge.
Yeah.
But with Colleen, this is something like I had to do for my own health, and
right.
Yeah. Like,
and I
when you think
understand that. Like, I mean, the thing is, like, sometimes you need that little moment to just get out of your headspace, and this is why I think a lot of people who are like so-called celebrities don't understand that even though they are bringing to life, you know, fictional characters, or like just animated things, stories, that thing. That's why, like, for me as a writer, I really work hard and I do a lot of research on the properties that I create. You know, like right now, like I'm my artist, right, from Sweden, basically sent me through a couple of pages of I'll show you this, like, just to show why art itself is so important. Let me just find.
Well, with Colleen, where I was at in late 2020, even throughout that entire year in 2019, from there to where I am now, it's safe to assume that it went well, but it went better than expected. That Colleen could have been as spiteful as Monica and kick me out.
Yeah.
But she was willing to talk.
Yeah.
And out of respect for Colleen, because she didn't treat me like garbage the way Monica did, I want to respect her, to keep it private and not do what the Actman did the other day, which was leak those DMs, and that's a whole other saga with Actman and Heels versus Babyface, which I actually side with Actman overall than Heels versus Babyface, because but there was another guy, Tommy C, who invited Actman onto his live stream, and those who had beef over something, and they were able to settle out their differences. So if Tommy could do it, why couldn't Heels versus Babyface, who replied, "You have nothing of value I want to hear." Well, this, like, yeah, the Actman versus Heel Babyface drama.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about those guys, because there is some weird things going on on the YouTube podcaster scene that seems kind of like becoming like this anime thing, right? You know, it becomes very controversial and stuff. But I'll show you this. Like, so I got this today, actually, you know, from my artist, and like, you look at that work, right? When you
but it's very cool that you got an artist from Sweden to help you out.
but you look at like the idea of like the emotion that brings to this panel, right, over the entire page. That there's a little girl who, you know, we're talking about how she's like involved in the book, and there's many people who are like us, nerds and geeks, who spent high school or primary school just reading comics, reading books, reading Harry Potter, and just not mindful of playing and stuff because our fantasy world is so important to us. And this is what I wanted to, bring back to what we're talking about, celebrities and stuff, so-called celebrities in the anime scene and manga scene. Is like they bring a voice to these characters, right? Because of some of those of us who don't understand Japanese, or read Japanese and so on, they become those characters for us. That voice, that's why for me researching what I do and stuff and working with my team, and there's several teams that I work with on several different books. This is just one part of our isekai series called Fantastical Romy Zoolandia. Romy, that's Romy here, the little girl, right? And so, we're talking about her in her past as a young kid, because when we talk to her in her story, she's about 18 going on, 17 going on 18. But we look at her, in different situations and stuff, and just, on her own as growing up, whereas everybody else is kind of like, is having, hanging out with friends and stuff. She's more isolated. And this is one of the things like that a lot of people, and I'm talking about like back to yourself, talking about how that moment with Colleen, that moment of interaction with the person who brings these characters to life, it can become that little moment of that you can look back on with great experience and think like, this is the moment that actually made me feel good. It brought a bit of light, shown a bit of brightness into my little moment of darkness, and that's why I wanted to talk about what it felt like for you to talk, to have that moment with Colleen, because I've had that moment where with a very famous, TV series actor, which I hold really dear, and it's one that I paid for, right? So there's this one, I've had like sports people as well, right? So this is one here where it's, that I paid for the event, and this is like about 2018 or something. And so from Stargate, Atlantis, the Supernatural series of monsters and stuff. And I can look at that, it brings me joy. Like I was all gushing, and that's why I looked like that, because I was like, she started speaking to me. I'm like, oh, because I thought all I had to do there was to go up and shake hands or whatever and get a photo taken and walk off. But she started speaking to me, so I didn't know what to say. So I was like, oh, hello. She said, how's the day going? I'm like, oh, okay. And here's me at friggin' 40 odd years old, right? Because that's 2018, so it's about 7 odd years ago. Yeah, 6 years, 6-7 years ago. But she's around my same age, right? And yet that moment, I'm gushing because I just seen the entire series she's worked on, then also Atlantis. And I think we forget this side of the fan interaction, and we downplay it. And until you're a fan of that person and realize that, then you get it, And they can be sports people, they can be movie stars, they can be writers and artists. And I've met some big name writers, like comic book writers, Peter David, right? Who is it? Like, hold on. Right? The artist from, like, the co-creator of freaking The Boys, right? Derek Robertson, the artist on that, right?
Okay.
And stuff, and other people like, there's so many people, right? The guy from Whiteout, which is what's a graphic novel made into a movie here in New Zealand, speaking to him about like, what was that like? And I think until you're a fan of someone, you don't, to that level and understanding and communicating and talking to them, you really don't understand it. And that's why I feel like for anime fans of dubbing, it's very important to highlight that aspect of it, the fandom, like otakus, right? In Japan, that culture has now come over to the West, right? And so when you are able to buy the ticket, and that's why I wanted to emphasize that the fact that this is new to people who don't understand that, to the scene of anime. Do you want to talk a bit more about that, Bud?
I think that we've gotten the main point, like meeting Colleen. Again, she's it's like she's changed my life again. But after this call, which was early in the morning for me, literally nothing went through my head. It's like my mind was finally cleared, that I lifted the world off my shoulders, and I've never had that feeling before where not a single thought went through my head.
Yeah.
Because thinking about this was so hard, so long, and it was over, and looking back, yes, that was better than expected.
Yeah.
But yeah, she didn't want to come forward on Chris Abbott. Otherwise, she would have after this call. And man, just the rot, the rot of the snake pit that is Funimation. I don't know if maybe Colleen plans on coming forward on Chris Sabat when One Piece is completed. That could be a reason that she's stalling to wait until One Piece is finished and then, all right, time to drop the bomb. But, you know, she has allies, like I showed the Stan with Vic crowd, which is the majority compared to the Kick Vic crowd. They're willing to side with Colleen, and as long as we're vocal about it, people won't forget, and we know the truth.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. In time, all truths come out, right? Everything will come out in time. There's enough things out there. But I mean, a lot of times you also got to feel for these people who are like on the other end of it, like Colleen, you know, because it's like what happened. They've seen what happened to Vic, right? Getting canceled, getting all this like like people turning away from him. Not only that, but also losing work and stuff. It's their livelihood. Voice acting is their livelihood, and it's, you know. But I think there is also this part where they should also not only look at voice acting as their livelihood, maybe go into acting itself. You know, diversify your portfolio. And I think a lot of these people get stuck into one thing. It's something like I've had to do myself. Like I've gone from being someone who's just worked in a factory to being, you know, trained as a chef, to be able to go study as a filmmaker while working as a chef, right? To pay for my bills. And then also coming back away.
Have you released any films, Aru?
Well, we did short films, but we were, that's what I was going to go into, right? But then I had my car accident, and I had to rethink that. And so I had to go and then I was like, okay, I can't spend a lot of time on my feet. So what shall I do? What do I ever want to do in life? Tell stories. So what's another way of telling stories? Well, I've always loved comic books. So let's do comic books, right? So that's what, we've got a huge comic book coming out on our, as you can see, there's a Kickstarter page there for us on my name. And so we've got, right now you can actually buy a comic book that we produce, which we're getting a whole bunch of work done on as part of covers and stuff, that is available right now, right, on for $2.99 US, right, which is about $5 New Zealand. And this is it here. So the artwork on this is done by Italian artists, right? So I work with people all around the world, and that allows me to work with very qualified artists. So you get a, professionally made comic book by professional artists, top of their game. And so that's a complete book. So it's kind of released as a one shot, but it's number one of an ongoing series. So we're going to be releasing it for comic stores, because comic stores don't have to wait for months and months to get the next one, because this one's a one shot. And so we got amazing.
Yes, sorry to cut you off, but I think maybe we should leave that till next time we do a live stream where we talk about our own stories, because I also did my own Thomas the Tank Engine stories on YouTube. But I did want this to be a part 2 of the Vic Mignogna defamation saga, and we pretty much covered all the major beats with the timelines and how everything was playing out, except the one last thing is Jamie Marchi with that Dragon Maid clip that I shared around. Like it was August of 2020 that initially blew up, and then when we started hearing late last year about woke localizations and changing context, I resent that clip to Yellow Flash, where that got like 9,000 likes, and even
I had that pulled up here
even
somewhere. Let me just
yeah.
I think it was so it was like VA anime, and I think what was the name? It was like is it Jamie Marchi who said that?
Yes. So on top of defaming Vic, attacking fans, also changing the lines and attacking fans even more. She even calls the Japanese audience Nazis, because even Japanese people, Japanese YouTubers were calling this out. Like, that's crazy. Like how widespread this was. Like, well, I'm glad I made my impact. But that's the beauty of
Is
that's
that
the
the one
beauty.
like they're calling being herself or something from 2 months ago?
Sorry?
I've got a video. I'm just trying to figure out if that's the one where she calls out, like, starts going off on fans about voice acting.
Yeah. It's the actual Q&A panel is not available anymore. I think that was taken down in 2020. I don't know the YouTube channel that owned it, but of course, once on the internet, it stays on the internet.
Yeah.
And now we've got it for the rest of time.
Penguin. Was it Penguin that called it out?
Who?
Penguin and Z, or Penguin's whatever, ZO or something, whatever his name is. A little clip on it. Oh yeah, here we go.
I think you're referring to Moist Critical, but it was Asmongold.
Yeah. Okay,
Asmongold.
so I'll bring that up so people get an idea of what we're talking about here. So let's grab this. So Japanese fans furious at Jamie Marchi, right? So about woke thing. So let me put the volume
the
up.
quality isn't.
The Japanese are learning about it mostly because of the Asmon effect. Even brings up the Marvels. What?
I even found another video from Delta HCon 2018 where she was talking about this, but I think it's the same thing.
Let me read some of the comments.
We get the
what
same
these guys are
idea
saying.
of what kind of person Jamie is.
But send me, if you've got that link, send me that link, and I will play this and have a go through this, and then we'll go back to that one.
Oh no, they're learning. Oh shit. Let me read some of the comments that what these guys are saying. Let's see what the real Japanese people are saying about it. These mentally ill, it's your job now to not let these West-centered racists massacre you. Especially because they do it in such an entitled attitude, thinking that they are right and morally good.
The criticism, like, I have a vagina, deal with it. We are
Yeah,
all
hello, can you
talented,
hear me?
funny, powerful women. I'm sorry you're not getting laid. It's not about you. Move on.
Hello?
Oh my fucking god!
I'm playing the video,
He just
dude.
went out
Hold
right
on.
and said it. Honestly, political correctness often uses the idea of making your point using someone else's work, but I hate it. If you can't respect the original work, don't get involved with it. With translations, the level of perfection depends on the translator's love for the original work. I want it to be translated by a translator who respects and loves the work. Bro. Yeah, okay, user. All right, who's this guy? Can activists who pretend to be translators be punished? Rather than, since there are people like this, I think it can't be helped to make it into AI. I wish it would be a trend to eliminate malicious translators. It would be better to have AI translate the work into Japanese rather than have the work based on the obscene tendencies of a Japanese translator. And it would more likely be the intention of the work that would be properly taken into consideration, and the AI would continue to evolve in the future. This is an outcome that we invited as we were rewarded for replacing translators with activists. Oh my God. I did not expect it to go this hard.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't coming up on my head until the end there.
Yeah, so that sort of highlighted the whole, the Japanese fans getting upset at Western, especially American, shouldn't say Western, American localizers, so-called, the translators of their Japanese language and voices dubbing into English, So that sort of really threw a wrench into the wheel, because it showcased how hateful these people are actually towards the work that they're hired to work on, in the sense that they put their own agendas into it.
They don't like the work. They don't like the fans. What are they doing here?
Yeah. But it's the money, right? The only reason they're doing it because it brings them fame and money. And it's like, okay, that's great, but why ruin it for everybody else?
It's not even money, because I remember hearing that these voice actors make more money from conventions than they do the actual voice roles. I wish I could have a source to bring that
Oh, no,
up.
they do. They do. Like, everybody, even the comic people have said this as well. Like, appearing at conventions gives them, like, balances out hugely to what they actually do for page rate, because they're getting money for signatures, they're getting money for photos, they're getting money for merchandise, all that. And that's way more than what their actual work is going to be worth. So the idea then is why would that's why they don't like to work, because it's just a little penny in the thing, but the work brings them fame and notoriety. That's why you would go and pay money to go to see them at the convention, and so when you went into the one-on-one with Colleen, so that's where they make their money. Like, they could get paid about a couple grand for doing an episode, but they could get 10 grand over the period of time in that 3 months or so for just appearing at an event.
There is something else to all this, how Jamie is so confident that she can say all of this and not be punished or reprimanded, whatever what is. That she can say all,
right?
Yeah, she can say all of this, she can do whatever she wants to the scripts, and she's not going to be punished for it. Like, there's something very wrong there, how confident. That's why she keeps doing it, because no one's holding her accountable within the business.
Well, the only way she can be held accountable is by people who stop buying tickets to see her in person at fandom, right? At events.
Voting with your wallet.
That's it. This is something I've spoken a lot about gamers. Is like, hey, stop buying a beta friggin' FOMO friggin' crap. Games. Why support anything? And this is what I love about what's happening with Sweet Baby Inc. It's like you're realizing that every studio that Sweet Baby Inc. has a hand in, stop buying their product, because that'll tell that studio people don't want these people working for us, so let's not hire them.
Yes, and that Sweet Baby Inc. detector account went from 5,000 views when people started taking notice of Sweet Baby Inc. And then over the weekend, it went from 5,000 to 100,000. And now, last I checked, last I checked, it was at 200,000. And yes, I did subscribe to that account. But I think this all started with voting with your wallet. Started with so this whole vote with your wallet thing, I remember, started with 2015 Star Wars Battlefront game by EA, and that made EA change their course to say, well, all right, we're not going to do the whole Battle Pass, Season Pass thing anymore. We're going to take that out, and instead what we got was something much more sinister with the loot boxes. But even that blew up to say, we don't want gambling in our games, especially something as big as Star Wars. And people have really taken note that voting with your wallet has an impact. All you just got to do is put it down and save it for someone else.
Yeah. And the other thing is the FOMO thing is what's most damaging, right? is like people who just want it right now. I can't. I fear of missing out. I don't want to miss out. I don't want. Dude, give it 3 months. It'll be for $10 at your freaking $10 bin instead of paying $100 for it, right? $10.
What are you saying? What are you saying? People are missing out on, which is what FOMO stands for the audience that doesn't know. What are you saying? People fear of missing out on?
Well, because the whole idea is that it's the influencer mentality when it comes to gaming. I got to make my revenue by playing this live now, and then people see it, goes, oh, it must be a good game, so they got to go, I got to get in on it. It's like, you don't. Everything that is out there it's going to be available for cheap, 50% off in about 2-3 months. So you've wasted your money, right? Because you couldn't wait, and that's what the studios are banking on, right? That's what the AAA games are banking on, getting your money from you, right?
It would be like 50% off, like we're seeing with the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game that's not performing well. That's why it's already like a 40% discount.
Yeah. And so all those idiots who gamers who professional, whatever, not, they spent $60 on something that's $100 on something that's now only worth $60, right? With a 40% off, whatever. And I'm talking about New Zealand dollars, right? Might be half that in America, but I mean, still value is value, man. And I think a lot of people are so afraid of missing out because it's trendy, right? To get it when it's hot. And so a lot of times I've learned to wait, especially with toy, because I'm a toy collector. So I wait and I see toys go down 50% in price, 30% in price. And sometimes they go for cost, $12 down from $40. And that's when I buy it because I have better things to do with the other $50 or $30 that I can buy 3 things with now, right? But I don't know why gamers are not thinking that way, right? As well, I think it's like, what is it about? I think it's like this whole idea of they've been like a rats in a maze, right? So used to doing this little pattern that they don't know how to change anymore, you know?
Sorry, the audio was cutting off there. What did you say?
Okay, so did you? That's all right. Did you have anything else to add for today's one? And then otherwise, we'll just finish up on here.
Nah, I think that's just about everything. Well, I do have something funny, not quite related to Chris Sabat or Vic necessarily, but I just want. So gotta go back onto Twitter. I think the internet has slowed down. Yeah, the internet's really slow all of a sudden. Maybe that's why the audio was breaking up.
Right.
Maybe I'll say it as the internet's loading because I don't know what's happening. But one of Monica's fans by the name of Daniel Fitzpatrick said, "Sorry if this sounds stupid, but did Monica and others show the evidence?" Like, that's a good question. And he's tagging all these people on Monica's side. And then comes J.S. Lemoyne, who was one of Monica's lawyers, who said, "And concerned troll wearing a stupid hat now joins the ranks of the blocked. Stupid questions for Christmas, and that's your present as well." Wow.
Yeah, if you ask for evidence, right? If you ask for evidence, you're a troll. That's what I always find interesting with social media is like with accusers, right? The receipts, man. That's what the social, that's what the world we live in is, receipts. Provide the receipts, and then we'll shut up. We'll see the evidence, and that's it.
I am loading it up. It's taking its time, but I think once it's loaded, then we'll call it off there because already said we'll end the stream twice already. And now it seems like it's completely stopped. But yeah, I do have it. I was just reading it out there. So maybe I need to reset my router.
Right. Send me the link and I'll add it to the to the video chat descriptor so people can see it later. But with that, let's finish up here for part 2. I don't think we'll need another part 3. Do you think we've pretty much covered it, haven't we, in this two-part series?
Yes, we'll only need a part 3 if something comes out on a Chris Sabat, or Vic has decided to sue Chris Sabat as part of a defamation. But
Right.
I honestly don't think he will. I don't think Vic is that type of person to pursue battles like that.
Especially when I think,
Yep.
especially in the sense that when it's like he's actually, everything about him is, it's open and everybody is aware of what's happened, and and plus he's, like you said, he's working with a Japanese studio, and seems to be on the up and up. And I think everybody who's a fan, would be supporting that studio as well, because that's what we want, right? We want people who work with people who are kind and gentle and nice and are good to be supported.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Aru, for letting me come on and showing all these receipts. It's kind of like depositing all these thoughts in my head over to your live stream, and well, I can move on and we can talk about our own stories next time, or maybe something will come up in the near future. We can talk about it together, and we'll see what 2024 has in store, because the year has just begun.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you
and
for joining
also,
us. Carry on.
One more thing. Release Coyote versus Acme.
All right, dude.
I
Thank you.
want that movie.
Yeah, it
All right,
sounds
take care, Aru.
It'll be cool. All right, catch ya. All right, guys, thank you for hanging out with us, and I appreciate it. This is part 2. Part 1's also in the link in the description below. And thanks to Doug and the Doctor for hanging out and bringing this together. Because I had, it wasn't something that I was thinking of doing, but when he approached, and I said, yeah, why not? It's been 5 years, and let's get this out there. And like I said, receipts, right? Speak louder than whatever you want to talk about, whatever anybody says, and the evidence is out there. So hopefully you'll support whatever Vic is doing, and you would support anime, voice actors. There's some really good voice actors out there. I've actually interviewed one who's really coming up huge right now, and I'm so glad to see him, get so much work, and he's such a great person. So we did an interview with him. I'll add that also on here in the description later. And also thank you to the Doctor for doing like the time code for the shoot for the first video, and also hopefully he'll do it for the second video. So wherever you are, and we'll put that in there. So wherever you are, be well, have fun, have a great day. See you next time. Kakite ano. Catch you tomorrow, and we've got more about our comic books that we're creating. And the day after that, I think we've got Comics and Ramblings. Comics and Ramblings, just finishing off here, is basically about pop culture and my thoughts, speaking with other people about it. So, kakitano. See you next time. Thank you for your support. If you're new here, hit that like and subscribe button and so on. But really, hit the notify button. But we really enjoy you and enjoy having a live stream, because I get to interact with you guys. So, whatever time I'm on with the live stream, jump on, ask questions. You might have a different opinion from me. I enjoy that. I think it's great, because it's good to have an open mind about things. And I like to learn from you guys as well. So farewell. See you next time.